I found a map. Yeah. Hey, look. That says 1632. Is that a year or something?
You guys, this map is old news. Everybody and their grandfather went looking for that when our parents were our age. I mean, haven't you ever heard of that guy? What's his name? The pirate guy. One-Eyed Willie.
One-Eyed Willie. Hey, you guys ever heard of this guy? Look, Chester Copperpot. Look, it says, Chester Copperpot, missing while in pursuit of local legend. I have the key to One-Eyed Willie.
You guys, just what if this map could lead to One-Eyed Willie's rich stuff?
Hey, Mike, I don't want to go on any more of your crazy Goonie adventures.
Chunk, I hope that was your stomach.
You guys, I recognize these people.
Look at it, it's a Fratelli's.
Look, the guy from upstairs.
The guy tried to sing. See, you guys, you never listened to me. I said that there was going to be trouble, but you didn't listen to me.
Start of the tunnel.
Tell me where your other little friends are.
The fireplace.
Don't lie to me.
This gap for sure. See, they said the last guy who went looking for the witch stuff, he said he went in, but he never came back out.
It is Chester Copperpot. Hey, Mikey! If you can hear me, run! Run! They're coming after you!
(1985) saw The Goonies arrive on the big screen, produced by Steven Spielberg and directed by Richard Donner. It was produced on a budget of around $19 million and made back around $60 million in the United States and made a healthy profit worldwide. It didn't make huge numbers, what many people were expecting from a Spielberg production, but became more popular on home video and thanks to repeated showings on TV. For the UK, it was actually cut in theatres, I believe. The kids and adults say a number of swear words, and when it's shown on TV, it's usually the cut version because broadcasters tend to show the movie during the day. When it turned up on DVD, it was given a 12 certificate. For US audiences though, no cuts were made. The Goonies was written by Chris Columbus, who had success the year earlier with Steven Spielberg, writing the classic Gremlins, and he went on to direct Home Alone and the first two Harry Potter films. The movie was shot mostly around Oregon, and the production used the sound stages at Warner Brothers in California for the elaborate sets. I recall reading Richard Donner tried to sell the giant ship they constructed to Disney and Universal Studios, but I believe at the time they didn't want it, so it had to be scrapped. With Richard Donner returning to big budget productions after 7 years, he had worked on 2 smaller productions during that time. He had another big budget film out the same year as Goonies called Ladyhawke, which didn't do that well at the box office but became a cult classic shortly afterwards. Richard Donner rose to fame for his work on Superman the movie. There are 2 references to Superman in the Goonies. Sean Astin's character Mickey is reading a Mad magazine featuring Superman, and of course Sloth's heroic scene near the end, which includes the Superman theme tune.
We're in deep shit now, Francis.
Oh, shit.
The Goonies has an excellent cast, many faces you will know today, and some had disappeared off the radar. Sean Astin after Goonies I recall seeing in Memphis Belle and California Man, and came to many people's attention for his great work in the Lord of the Rings trilogy as Sam. Corey Feldman as Mouth became a huge star in the 80s and early 90s, previously starring in Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, and Gremlins. He went on to star in Stand By Me, The Lost Boys, The Burbs, and also was the voice of Donatello in the Turtles movie. As Brandon is Josh Brolin, starring in his first feature film, and his career didn't really take off after Goonies. He starred in a number of films but met with limited success. It wasn't until the last couple of years he has gained that star status, turning up in Grindhouse, No Country for Old Men, American Gangster, True Grit, and Men in Black 3. I think he's turned out to be the most successful out of the original cast of characters. Data, played by Ke Huy Quan, had previously turned up in the Temple of Doom and later became a stunt coordinator, but never became a huge star afterwards. The fan favourite Chunk, played by Jeff Cohen, He had some minor TV roles after the film but left acting, and in 2002 set up his own law firm. Before filming on The Goonies, he contracted chickenpox and had not told anyone of his illness and just showed up for work. Apparently you can see the chickenpox during the famous truffle shuffle scene. The two girls that tag along with the Goonies, Andy and Steph, both had varying degrees of success after the Goonies. Kerry Green, who played Andy, done a couple of films but mostly worked in TV. Martha Plimpton, who played Steph, has appeared in lots of films and had great success on Broadway, and in the late 80s was dating River Phoenix. The Fratellis provide some more great comedy for the film and serve as the villains. The actress playing the mother passed away in 1988 at 59 years old due to throat cancer. She didn't act professionally till late in her life, starring in films in the early 70s. The sons Francis and Jake are comedy gold, constantly arguing with each other and always fighting for affection from their mother. Both actors Robert and Joe have starred in tons of really popular films. The hero of the film is Sloth, played by an American football player, John Matuszak. He unfortunately passed away in 1989 at only 38 years old, I believe down to an addiction to painkillers. Sloth is obviously portrayed as this hideous monster at the beginning, but instantly becomes this lovable character once he meets Chunk and saves the kids at the end. His character is just a big kid and is one of the most iconic movie characters from the 80s. For the story of the film, a group of friends living in the Boondocks face foreclosure on their family's homes from the expanding country club. On one of their last days, their morale sinks particularly low due to Mikey's older brother Brandon having failed his driving license exam, thwarting their plans to cruise the coast in style during their last Goonie weekend. While rummaging through Mikey's father's attic, they find an old newspaper clipping, a Spanish map, and an artifact relating to a rumour of a lost but not forgotten pirate treasure somewhere in the area. Mikey tries to persuade his friends to join him in search for the treasure hoarded by a pirate named One-Eyed Willie. Initially reluctant, the group eventually decide to evade the authority of Brandon and escape for one last Goonie adventure. They head down to the coast and stumble upon a derelict seaside restaurant that seems to match the coordinates set by the map. Unaware that the Fratellis, a family of fugitives, are using the restaurant as their hideout. After first encountering the family, the Goonies come back after the Fratellis have left and discover their criminal intents. However, the Fratellis return before they can leave, forcing the Goonies to use the cavern underneath the restaurant to escape and send Chunk, the group's clumsy, heavy-set friend and constant liar, to get help. The Fratellis capture Chunk and interrogate him, learning nothing till a colony of bats burst out of the cavern beneath the restaurant. Chunk is placed in the same room with the forsaken and deformed Fratelli brother, Sloth, while the rest of the Fratellis enter the cavern and follow the Goonies' trail. The majority of the effects in the Goonies mainly consist of practical special effects, which work well in the context of the story. There are a couple of optical and mats that work well, but one or two do look a bit ropey when Mikey is lining up the artifact with the rocks and the restaurant. Obviously the effect shot has 3 visual layers to the image. They look a bit shaky and unfocused, and the last shot of the ship sailing away is pretty bad. It looks like something from the kids' TV show Captain Pugwash. The score to the Goonies was composed by David Grusin. His work wasn't released on vinyl at the time and eventually turned up on a limited CD release a year ago, which I managed to pick up. The style of the score does sound very much like Jerry Goldsmith's traditional standard of work. It's a great listen, it has large cinematic themes and a great use of keyboards, which was popular at the time with composers for the more emotional scenes. Also, the score really helps develop the mystery surrounding One-Eyed Willie and the disappearance of Chester Cobblepot. It has a very spooky and mysterious vibe to it. Cyndi Lauper was asked to provide songs for the film and was made the musical director for the soundtrack by Steven Spielberg, so she had the role of picking bands she thought would be ideal for the film's soundtrack. Her track, The Goonies Are Good Enough, was already produced and Warner's just got her to slap on the Goonies Are tag to the original song. She apparently was never a fan of the song and refused to sing it live after 1986 and only brought it back into her live shows in 2004, down to pressure from the fans. There was a music video for the song produced, which randomly features loads of wrestlers like Andre the Giant and Rowdy Roddy Piper. I personally don't mind the tune, it's very catchy and works well in the film. There were a number of deleted scenes that turned up on the DVD, one featuring the kids bumping into Troy at the local supermarket, where he attempts to smoke their map like a joint. It's so funny and stupid. But also included was the octopus scene. Data mentions it near the end of the film, but left many thinking, where's this octopus then? Well, the octopus scene is very odd. They get attacked by the octopus and Data shoves a Walkman into its mouth and it swims off. Totally bizarre, and I can see why they cut it. Konami created 2 versions of the Goonies video game for the MSX in Japan and Europe and the NES in Japan. It's a basic platform game with a puzzle element. The Goonies 2 was also released on the NES in 1987. The Goonies 2 was released in North America, Europe and Australia. The first game never turned up outside of Japan and surprised many because there was never a sequel to the movie. The last number of years, Richard Donner and the cast have expressed interest in a sequel and scripts have been produced, but I think Warner Brothers is not at all interested in doing a sequel. Having the cast return for a new movie would seem a bit odd. I don't think it would work, and they've left it way too late for a sequel, and it would only be running off the success and nostalgia of the first film. The Goonies still makes people's list of favourite films growing up. It has that great sense of adventure, and the chemistry between all the kids is spot on. You believe they are all great friends, and there are moments where they try to act mature and act like adults, like kids try to do, but they still show their age during their moments when they're all skipping along to the restaurant. It's those little moments that work so well. Critics Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert complained about the kids talking over each other and the time it takes for them to go on their adventure. I never really had a problem with those issues. I found the scenes with the kids talking over each other to be a very realistic attempt at capturing a group of kids hanging out. I do agree with them, it does take a little too long for them to go on their adventure, but it does help develop their characters during the beginning scenes, where the audience just gets a chance to see them hanging out and deciding what to do. Everyone has a personal favourite character from the movie, but for me growing up it was Data because he had all the cool gadgets, but many love Chunk because he steals the film with his over-the-top, lovable performance. There are some great little moments with him that always make me laugh.
Oh, guys, thanks a lot. You guys, you're not gonna believe me. This time I'm telling the truth. You turd. Okay, Brand. Michael Jackson didn't come over to my house. He was about to. But his sister did. Look, how's that? Oh, you idiot. You glued it on upside down.
Dork, if God meant to do it that way, you'd all be pissing in your faces.
Looks fine to me.
What is that?
Oh, shit, what? No, I'm getting out of here. Look. I smell ice cream. You never believed me. I said that they were gonna be buried.
If you've never seen Goonies, you may find the film to be very average and a kind of watered down version of Indiana Jones, with a pirate twist thrown in. It's definitely a film that works well when you view it as a kid, because it has a greater effect on you and definitely fuels your imagination. As an adult, I find the traps left by One-Eyed Willie to be totally ridiculous and a bit unspectacular. I love the piano made of bones, but the selling point of the adventure is the pirate ship at the end. The movie has a great production design, and Richard Donner directs the movie confidently and manages to get great performances out of the children, which can be very difficult to do, because many children end up ruining movies down to their wooden performances. The Goonies is the ultimate kids movie that can also entertain adults, as well thanks to its great humour. The movie can be very relatable thanks to its rich cast of characters. Everyone had a friend like Chunk or Mouth. The film is always a great nostalgic trip back to my youth, every time I watch it.